Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Izuku becomes the hero of the multiverse, and got Harem, part 1. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Madko Sanchez, link is in the description, also subscribe to our channel, and like this video, so let's begin the video. Izuku, wake up. Class is about to start. Iida said. Oh, yawn right. God, that midnight training took a lot out of me. Should really set a schedule up. Thanks Iida. Izuku yawned. He then noticed his desk had a new book on it. Akin, did you give me a book or someone else? Izuku asked. No, what the hell do you think, shitty Deku? Bakugo scoffed while ignoring Iida's pleas of whatever random crap he was saying. I for one think he needs an attitude check. A disembodied voice said. Huh? Izuku said. Only to see that Bakugo didn't hear anything. Don't bother Midoriya. I'm speaking to you through a mental link. But I do not know the answer to my question. And yes, I know that I am not supposed to be using my quirk, but the question wouldn't go away. So my question is this. If you had the chance to visit other worlds in the ever-expanding multiverse, if only to chronicle your findings despite being there for 10 minutes or a year in the event that the universe is destroyed or God forbid it, forgotten, would you take the risk? The voice asked. To be honest, yeah, if the universe is gone, I would love to make sure it is never forgotten by others. If it saves one universe, then it's a win I'll take. Izuku said in his head, you truly are, as pure as they say. The voice said. It went away after that, confusing Izuku. Nonetheless, he went on with his day. Not noticing, he left the book. It was made of this dark blue leather with 2 black belts and had golden details and decorations on the front and back. On the front of it, it had a dark blue diamond with a dark cyan clear pearl inside the crystal. The edges of the pages were painted silver. But we were also tanned. The book spine had a detachable writing tool. It had a cherry wood body capped off with a golden cap on both ends with a brush head shaped black crystal on one end and a small extendable and detachable golden chain attached to the other. The crystal was able to produce pure black ink, laced with redstone to create spells. It can even write in the air, thanks to the magic core inside. The dark blue began to turn a dark green. The wood hardback turned into bronze. And the book opened, flipping to the owner's signature. It soon changed the owner's name into Izuku Midoriya. It then turned into dust, flowing away into the dorms. Izuku yawned as he got ready to go to bed. Only then did he remember about the book. He decided to get it later. He yawned and made sure Eri had her stuffed toy, him in his hero suit, and Kota didn't lose his hat like last. He placed a kiss on their heads and went to bed. After sleeping off the night, Izuku woke up to find Kota and Eri about to tackle him. He smiled and didn't resist them. In fact, they got caught by him when they jumped after him. They soon got grabbed and tickled in retaliation. Say uncle. Izuku said with a smile. Never. Kota laughed. Eri and Kota were soon released though. Fine, then I guess my birthday present to you two can go to someone else. Izuku teased. They soon get this oh shit look and begin to apologize. Say uncle and accept defeat, children. Izuku said. Uncle. Uncle. They said. Izuku then gave them a half shit-eating grin and half mischievous grin and brought out 2 presents. One white with a red ribbon and the other red with a yellow ribbon. You may open them as soon as the day ends. I want to see you go from tired to awake and annoy Kakin later. Izuku said. He then noticed the silver mirror in his room. Well, that's new. Kota, when you and Eri were awake, did you see that mirror there? Yeah. We thought you were gonna replace your mirror in the bathroom. Kota answered. I wasn't though. I'll be honest, it's too expensive for my butt. Izuku said. A pure silver mirror? I don't know about you, but I know that this is suspicious. Izuku said. The silver borders were like a curving wave you see in fancy mirrors. A clear light blue diamond was at the top in the shape of a teardrop. As Izuku got closer, he noticed that he had been holding a book. The same book he found. He looked down and noticed he was holding the book as well. The gem in it began to glow as soon as he got closer to the mirror. He didn't even notice that the mirror's reflective surface was growing out silver hands. When he looked up, the hands grabbed him, pulling him into the mirror. Whoa. Oof. Izuku exclaimed. He got up to see he was in a room with a dark oak floor and a gold and obsidian book podium. What is this place? Izuku asked himself. Welcome to the multiversal hub mirror. And you have been chosen to catalog the ever-expanding multiverse. A booming voice said. Who's there? Izuku asked. Why, you surely don't remember me, do you, Izuku? No matter. For I have been searching the multiverse for a worthy successor. And you are that person. The voice said. Just then the silver ceiling above him began to melt and drip in front of Izuku. That molten metal began to turn into a sphere of silver that formed into a male featureless humanoid body. The floor opened up around him to clamp down an obsidian block on it. When the arms left the floor closed, the block of obsidian began rumbling. Izuku stepped back to see cracks form in the block. More metal, gold this time, poured into the top and went inside the cracks. The broken obsidian fell apart to reveal a man made of silver with eyes made of obsidian with golden pupils, matching his black obsidian hair. He wore an obsidian trench coat with a sleeveless under V-neck shirt of obsidian over a white dress shirt of platinum. Dress pants and shoes made of obsidian and a gold tie to top it off. His whole suit gives a polygonal look to it. The leftover obsidian crumbled to dust and gathered up into a long shape that reformed into a rapier cane hybrid with polygon crystal spheres to signify the handguard and pommel. The leftover gold and spare platinum formed the hidden blade and diesels on the cane. The end touching the floor had a gold cap holding a blue gem in the form of an upside-down teardrop. Why hello young Izuku. I am the multiverse cataloger and cartographer Gob. I used to have a different name put in due time. I simply forgot it. Gob explained. Where am I? Izuku asked. Why have you arrived into the multiversal hub mirror? Or MHM for short. Gob explained. As for why you are here, you have been deemed to take my place and my work due to your answer to my question the other day. Gob bowed when he said that. What do you mean? Izuku asked. Gob sighed. I understand you have questions. Here, place my finished book onto the podium. I can explain everything with that. Gob said before crumbling and turning into a book. It was a simple big book with golden diesels and edges on the papers of silver with obsidian covers. Each page had golden writing. Only the cane remained and absorbed the rest of the materials without getting bigger. The book floated into Izuku's hands and the cane just floated there. He hesitatingly took the book before placing it on the podium. It quickly opened up without outside assistance and the room turned into a void of space with stars far away. Galaxies everywhere. Imagine you are in space. Each of these galaxies represent a universe. In each universe it has a center that holds each alternate universe surrounding the center and provides nourishment for that slowly dying center universe. The AUs are created by people from other universes through watching or playing a medium depicting the events in their respective universe. The multiverse connects every known universe with its existence alone. Bob let his words sink in. What we are residing in is a deltaverse. A limbo if you will. The deltaverse acts as a hub for information on the multiverse. Our jobs, as of the multiverse, is to catalog events and supply sustenance to the center universe in each galaxy or a megaverse. That book you hold is an anchor to every universe, but you have to connect that anchor by cataloging that specific universe. The area of space begins forming pitch black spheres everywhere. Some replacing a galaxy. If we don't, then the Omegaverse will die. And if they do, he becomes stronger. Who is he? Izuku asked. He goes by many names, the Scarlet King, Chaos King, the God of Darkness, the Antichrist, or destruction itself. He wishes nothing but the end of the multiverse. He is the reason my wife is gone now. Gob explained. I'm sorry to hear that, Izuku said. Thank you. Now after hearing my tale, do you accept it? Yes. But I do have a question. Can beings from one universe travel to another at will? Yes and no. Some are bound by rules and others aren't. It varies between each universe. Gob said. He seems like he isn't too sure of himself. Will I be able to choose whatever universe I go to? Oh hell no. I just prolonged the inevitable. Wait, what? Izuku said. The book he held was on his belt to his hero uniform. He didn't even notice that he was wearing it. Yeah, we're currently projecting our spirits. The mirror behind you is about to grab you with pervy hands. God, he's such a bisexual douche. Gob said. What? Izuku said before everything disappeared and he was grabbed by, in fact, perverted silver hands into the mirror again. Izuku screamed. He just got grabbed by a very perverted mirror that would give Mineta a run for his money. Then found himself falling down the sky to see he is in a world with a shattered moon and is about to be eaten by a giant nevermore. Izuku quickly slapped himself to reality and punched the bird in the face, slowing his descent in the process. He landed onto a tree branch that snapped under him. He got up after falling to the ground and found a sword made of what looks like epoxy resin. Yes, dear readers, we see a sword made of epoxy resin. The blade was clear dark green with a white bone handle with a bronze handguard shaped like a curved guard. And a brass pommel holding a cut blue diamond. The blade was double-edged and had a diamond shape on top. It had a sticky note attached. A sheath for the back as well. I had a friend of the gamer variety help make this. It's strong as and will vent your power into the edge and durability. It changes shape and size based on your travels. Gob. I really need to get an aspirin soon. Izuku said, feeling a major headache coming. He then heard a shrill scream north of him. We all know he headed towards danger to help. But he grabbed the sword. The note floated downwards to show another message on the back. Have fun with one of your future wives. Izuku quickly activated full cowl 5% and saw his blade glow bright green. And green electricity surrounded the blade, signifying the rest of his power is in the blade. He ran through the forest to find a girl with blonde hair running away from the beelds behind her whilst holding her baby sister in her arms. Smash! Izuku yelled as he took down all of the beelds in one swipe, leaving one alpha. Izuku then crouched and jumped up whilst punching the alpha's head clean off. He kicked the head away and landed on the ground panting. Don't worry. Because I am here. Izuku announced himself whilst jamming his thumb on his chest. And Ursa tried to get him, but he kicked it away and used one for all to flick away the remaining Grim. The girls, Yang and Ruby, just watched in awe as Izuku defeated the Grim without breaking a sweat. When he finished, he put the blade away to see if the children were okay. You two okay? He asked. They nodded yes. They then began shivering from the winter air. Izuku chuckled. Come on you two. I'll carry you home. Izuku said. Really? You're not gonna hurt us? I would never hurt people. Especially children that are adorable, as you two. I would not call myself a hero if I did. Izuku said. His attempts to cheer them up worked as they blushed and let him pick them up. Hold on tight. He said. He activated full cowl and began to jump through the trees only to stop at a log cabin to see a scruff man walk out drinking from a flask. Crow Branwen. He dropped it when he saw his nieces being let down by some boy. Uncle Crow. The girl said before running forward to hug him. He hugged them back but glared at the boy. Who are you? He said. Before Izuku could answer, the girls answered instead. But he did get to say his name. Please don't hurt Uncle Crow. He saved us from a pack of beelds because I went out with Ruby even though I wasn't supposed to. I'm sorry. Yang cried. Yeah? Mr. Izuku's a hero. With those words Izuku felt like his heart was lifted. Damn it Tai. We're having a talk after this. Izuku smiled. He then felt his body get lighter. He looked down to see his body fading away from his feet up. Yes, I'm about to leave again. Izuku said to himself. Please don't go Mr. Izuku. We want to know how to be heroes like you. Ruby pleaded. Sorry child, but I must. But I know this. To be a hero you must be ready to defend the defenseless but in when you aren't needed. And to grab from deep inside yourself, clench your and yell from your heart, smash. And if you're backed in a corner, go further beyond your limits, plus ultra. Take this to heart as the future heroes of tomorrow. Remember that children. Further beyond. Izuku said. Plus ultra. The girl said for him. Couldn't have said it better myself. Izuku thought. He then faded away to who knows where. Will he come back? Ruby asked. I don't know, but I have a feeling he will. As for you Yang. You're grounded for the week. It took 1 minute. It took 1 minute for Eri Midoriya and Izumi Koda to register the fact that their father was sucked into a mirror, the mirror morphing into a 12-legged spider, and run off and escape into the dorms melding with the TV in front of a Chaco. Then a couple things happened. 1. Eri and Koda screamed so loud that Inko was woken up from her nap, gave Present Mick a run for his money, and scared the ever-living shit out of Kitsuki. While also being heard by Izuku who was busy sleeping in a forest in another universe. 2. The TV turned on by itself to show Gob waiting. 3. Everyone began to either freak out or get mad. 4. And when all is said and done Ida finally notices the spider TV hybrid. Everyone shut up. Gob yelled. Rendering everyone temporarily deaf. Now, please know that your Izuku is safe. In fact, he was chosen by my father to travel the multiverse and prevent universes from dying away. But since dad doesn't like repetition, I'll have to download the info into you. But that Gob waved his hands, causing a slight headache to everyone present. The fuck? Why is that Bakugo would have finished if not for Gob placing an obsidian mouthguard on him with leather straps and gold bars. Do not swear in front of a child you pathetic excuse for a hero. I will not tolerate you disrespect my protege. Gob yells. Gob then sighs and rubs his temples. Good God he is giving me a headache with his screaming. And don't bother trying to take it off. Even Celestial Sapiens have trouble with that let alone a boy with explosive powers to match his temper. Gob explained. Anyway I'm to alleviate your fears. When the time comes we'll occasionally watch our cinnamon rolls escapades. Also the TV is upgraded. And don't worry Koda, Eri, Izuku will be here soon. Gob said with a smile. Eri and Koda sighed in relief. Behind Gob a mirror formed around a gem. Speak of the devil and he shall come. Izuku, come say hi. Gob said. The black obsidian mirror with a crystal surface of sapphire made ripples to show a much older Izuku. His hero suit was sleeker and much more adaptable. He had a bit of stubble, a strange shoulder piece on his right arm, with a forest green Hergla symbol, surrounded by a gear with a sword strapped to his back, forest green vambraces attached to black fingerless gloves. A small hexagon device strapped to his belt as a buckle. A strange buzzsaw and axe hybrid under his right empty book holster, and his left holding a different book while he was writing on the one he's holding. Attached to his legs were iron supports. His hood was up attached to custom neon green goggles and a face cover that was much slimmer and was connected to the bunny ears on his head. Twitching every now and then. He also had a cape on that gave the effect that using it would conceal him. A small child no more than 4 years old was being held by a living mannequin covered in the same black cloth. Only to be protected by chainmail. The mannequin had a highly modified sniper rifle and a pistol katana hybrid on its back and hip. Hello 1A and Bakugo. I am your Izuku from about I have to say, 6 years in the future. Anyways, I'm here to say hi and introduce you to my youngest daughter to my massive harem. And thanks for taking away Minetta's mouth gob. God damn this face. Why can't I just be happy with one wife? Izuku said. But most of the girls were awing at his daughter and nose bleeding at Izuku's handsome face. The men were praising Izuku. Kaminari was even bowing and yelling we're not worthy. Over and over. Izuku just chuckled. He then whispered something inaudible to Gob who nodded no. Izuku felt sad but did notice a floating chandelier above him. He began speaking again and Gob nodded. He snapped his fingers and 2 portals made of blue mist opened in the room. Out the left came a lantern with a black and blue scheme. It had light blue eyes and 2 long iron hooks with floating blue flames above the ends. With a name tag saying lateral. The second one to come out was a blue bipedal ninja frog with its tongue acting as its scarf. It held its hand out to Koda. It was named Franklin. Both Eri and Koda were happy with the gifts Izuku gave them. Have fun with your new friends. They both have a pokeball and Gob will put all important information into your head soon. Now I must go. My 13th wife is giving birth. And I must mourn for the D later. Izuku then paled as he finished before heading off. All the men prayed that Izuku's dick survives. While Ichako felt sad for some reason. Izuku soon materialized in a new forest. Overlooking the city under him. Well, so far so good here. And I jinxed it. Izuku said. However, the handsome rider of this fic decides that he shall be merciful for now and prevent the jinx. Shameless ego boost. A grunt of pain sounded out and Izuku, being Izuku, went to help. What he saw was a green-scaled dragon. But it was clearly in pain. Reason why is because of the giant sword in its back. Oh my gosh. Are you okay? Izuku asked. Clearly startling the dragon. What do you want, humans? She said, the dragon is female. Right, that's a stupid question, of course you're not alright. How deep is the blade? If it's too deep I can't pull it out without risking more damage. Izuku asked. What do you care about, humans? I'll die anyway. Now leave me be so I may die in peace. The dragon said. Izuku scowled, no one should accept their fate like that. He began climbing the dragon despite its protests. Hey. If you touch that your mind will be destroyed. It also weighs a ton. The dragon protests. Well, I'm sure, as hell ain't normal. A hero's job is to save those who cannot help themselves, never to seek a reward. Full cal 7%. Plus. Ultra. Izuku yelled as the green electricity coiled around him. And soon after he pulled the sword out with no effort. Amazing Toru with his bravery. Izuku's own sword flew out his sheath to slice the blade in two. The broken blade began turning into dust as the metal was being absorbed into the blade. When it finished, a metal charm of a dragon wrapping around a small child to protect them formed. The blade resheathed itself to Izuku and the charm disappeared in a flash of light. But Izuku was busy being acquainted with Toru, who was in a maid outfit after an embarrassing sight. Oh, and Toru proclaiming her love to him. So what brings you here? Toru asked. Bringing Izuku back from being a tomato. Huh? Oh, well, I am to catalog the multiverse to prevent it from dying. If a universe is acknowledged in any shape or form, a universe will get to live. So it is my job to catalog the multiverse. Izuku explained. Well, mind if I come with you then? I can easily travel the multiverse using portals when I get a good signature on your manga. You don't have much though. So it might take a while. She explained the last parts to herself. Well, sure, it'd be nice to have someone share in the craziness this new life is. Izuku said. He then sighed and grabbed his book. Soon enough something takes over and he begins writing down all that has happened to him. When he closes the book his eyes turn yellow before back to green. Izuku then yawns and lays down on the grass below him. Noticing Toru laying by his side. He didn't mind and wrapped his arm around her. By the gods, is this what love is? If so, I don't mind one bit. Ooh, he smells sweet too. Like an adorable cinnamon roll. Toru thought to herself. Is this my life now? Well, no rest for the heroes, huh? Izuku thought before falling asleep. Time skip. Third person Pav on Gob. So, do you agree to the terms? Gob asks. Yes. I will give access to the mazes and we won't use him for any nefarious purposes. A female said. She had silver hair and a black dress exposing most of her cleavage with a piece of jewelry holding it together. Yes. In exchange his abilities are rendered useless, but he will be reincarnated if he dies in each maze. He however is allowed to go about them as he sees fit. Like tripping enemies and setting traps. As for your first reward choice I must ask. Why is that? A man asked. Well, more like a man's voice from a door with an eyeball. This is Malik. The woman is Matilda. Let's just say his next world after this calls for it. Gob says. Oh, what a nice nap. Right Izuku? Toru asked. Though she swore she was in a forest earlier. Now she was on a comfy green couch. You're awake Miss Toru. I assume that you are a little confused. Gob says. He was drinking a cup of tea. Yes. Why am I here? She asked. Why are you in the MHM? The multiverse hub mirror. As for why you're here, I was the one to bring you here. I know that with your powers you can travel the multiverse. But you need mana. So I will bring you here to fix that problem. Gob sipped. In exchange you catalog Izuku's behavior throughout the multiverse with this small MTB. A multiverse traveler's book. Gob finished. He took out a small book wrapped in leather made from an unknown entity and made 2x dyed yellow with red trim like her hair on it was a silver button to open it. It had gold plates on the bottom and top to cover the black pages. The pen attached to a hidden compartment to the spine was pure onyx and had the tip of a silver dragon claw. Always producing gold ink. But this you relay the info written to me so I may give a mandatory vacation. Best not have him a complete psycho. For now though you will be resting, as Izuku is gonna be going through a trial to earn a gift I have for him. It's called the Panzer Cycle. Originally from a game called Mercenaries 2. But when that game gained a good foothold I brought it from an AU of that and that gift will be given to him if he passes. But if he doesn't he'll get it for Christmas. After he dies 3 times there he will be sent here to know this. Wait what Toru yelled in surprise. Yes, he will most likely die multiple times in the universe Dark Deception. That universe is unique and prevents someone from truly dying in the trials setup. Each trial is a maze filled with enemies with different strengths and weaknesses. Those strengths represent the next world after that. Weaknesses to prevent constant death. Simple as that. I had to make a deal with the guides to create an identical hub and different trials. Simple deal. And what do they get? They get to create new and much more frightening trials as long as they know the next world. Either that or they gain enough power to destroy a universe. And I will never let it happen again. Gob explained. Gob then let a bit of his metal melt off onto the table below. The metal reformed into a medallion with a dragon scale pattern on both sides and given a sleek dull silver edge. It was then shrunk and given a band to make it act as a wedding ring with first written in cursive on the inner edge. He reformed his hand and took a gem made of magma and placed it in the ring face. It was small and spherical. It also was a cat's eye. The ring was giving the impression of a dragon eye. Here. This will track Izuku by the hair I took from him in this crystal and make it easier to open portals. Gob explained. At their respective left and right, left on Toru, a flat screen TV appeared showing Matilda and Markov. They were busy placing enemies. Let's watch shall we? God damn this day has been a shit show. Izuku said. Not even bothered by the fact that a woman is arguing with a door with an eyeball. Now he knows how Izawa feels when near his Ashi. Hell, not even the humanoid made of a galaxy with trident-like horns and green eyes is phasing him. This being is a celestial sapien. A purely omnipotent being with 2 consciousness to decide decisions. This is the only one thought to be born with 1 neutral conscience. And best friend of God. His name is Markanov. Will they ever stop bickering? Markanov said. His voice had a noticeable echo. I just got here and already I'm getting a headache from them. Izuku said. He then noticed that his strength is exponentially weakened. But his blade is here. You're right. Oh, you must be God's successor, Izuku Midoriya, yes? Markanov asked. Yes, you a friend of God? Izuku asked. Why yes, I myself am a celestial sapien. I had been asked to nullify your quirk so you passed the trials made by Thing 1 and Thing 2. Hey? Well it's true. Now open the first portal. Markanov said. He is clearly irked and wishes he had a second voice. Serena scoffed, and a once grey glyph is now red with a silhouette of a monkey bus boy with shark teeth in its place. We'll explain what you have to do when you touch the portal. You'll be in a red hallway so you just gotta go through it into the door. Markov explained. Izuku nodded. I know I should be freaking out, but no I'm not. Must be the effect of this world. Izuku said to himself as he entered the void. When he did he saw that he was on the other side of the portal and saw he was in some hotel setting safe room. It had a front desk and a waiting room with Markinov as a busboy, costume and all. Izuku couldn't help but chuckle. Markinov chuckled back. Why come in Midoriya? And place your blade on the desk. I gotta fix a flaw this gamer fella made. Izuku unsheathed it and did as he was told. Markinov held it in his hand and the blade changed into a dark green crystal blade with a brass handguard and the handle was steel wrapped in leather and the pommel was a palm-sized rectangular green gem. The blade was a few centimeters longer and had the top of it shaped as the diamond on a playing card. Occasionally a few green sparks of electricity will envelop the blade. The sheath was remade to fit the blade. Here. I made sure that it actually can do its functions right. And if you take down 3 enemies in the maze, I'll tell you about the next world you'll be heading into. And trust me you'll need the info. Thanks Markinov. But how can I kill the enemies? Izuku asked. As you collect the soul shards spread throughout the maze you'll encounter damned souls that sadly can't be helped. But they are worth a soul crystal. Just stab them or cut them. Let your inner murderer out. They murdered innocents because they thought it was fun. So kill them back. I just enchanted your blade to send them to a personal hell to those who truly deserve it. And they sure do. And if you don't I understand. Markinov said. Izuku held the blade up to him and thought it through. Markinov saw Izuku struggling and placed a hand on his head. I see your conflict. So I will tell you this. Throughout your travels you will be forced to kill someday. So I will give you the experience of the act and how to wield the blade. How you use these experiences is up to you. Markinov said. Izuku then felt a headache as information began to flood his mind. He couldn't help to stop the nosebleed. And vomit. Markinov just stared in disinterest. He then noticed another presence and teleported away. I didn't think that you would be here at all Mr. Slenderman. Markinov said. Now in the form of a human male with a suit representing his body. His void black hair was seen under his black helmet holding the 3 head spikes. His white undershirt holding a tie with the same look as his suit. Your friend Gob asked me to come here to let you know that I will teach Izuku to resist mental attacks and how to send out his own. In exchange for that he must be a temporary proxy. Letting his villain aside out. He has just allied with one of the villain Dekus. Best to know how his villain counterparts will think when he has to fight them. Slenderman explained. I see. Well my deal is ruined now. In the meantime, want to watch our friend? Markinov asked. Sure. I would like to see how this Midoriya fellow fares with this. Izuku entered and exited the elevator. He found that he was in front of the statue of this room with a tablet showing purple dots in a maze. The dots are showing the position of the purple crystal shards in the maze in front of him. The door besides him kept getting knocked on harshly. The pathways are blocked by boards. And here are soul shards. Selena says from somewhere. Collect them and traverse the maze. Over time you will encounter enemies that you can kill. Serena explains. Break down the boards and get going. Malek said. Izuku did one better and sliced them into pieces. He then stumbled forward from the force and noticed a soul shard disappeared when it made contact with him. He grinned and knew he collected it. He ran through the maze with ease and only had a few shards left when they came. They were actual monkey bus boys with gigantic heads and mouths full of shark-like teeth. They also wielded a knife. They were smart enough to sneak attack him and that was the first time he died. The second was from tripping on the carpet and stabbing himself in an accident. But managed to get all the soul shards and get to the statue. He touched it and a purple gem embedded itself into his sword. It was in the middle of the hilt and was a small 4-pointed gem that felt cleanly cut. Izuku just smiled and was about to go when a monkey burst through a door and ended up being slashed in half. Izuku then noticed 2 more about to attack and killed those 2 on instinct. Only then did he register what he did. He oddly felt fine. For he now could know that they are truly evil and could kill him and their victims again in a heartbeat. He slapped himself for those thoughts and exited the maze. He went back into the ballroom hub. In response his arm gets stabbed by a vial of something. How the fuck was that for? One thing about Izuku. He hates being stabbed with needles and will get extremely pissed. Don't worry. Your future self asked me to give you this virus after messing with its genetic code. You now have your arms reinforced and can create a glaive you can throw. Markinov explained. Just like that Izuku's arms began turning gray and his scars faded. Markinov turned them back to their original colors. Izuku then thought of the glaive and a 3-bladed glaive, look up dark sector glaive, grew out from his palms. They had that same purple crystal in the middle and on the blade where the glaive body ends and the blade begins. The body was a light black. while the blades were a very dark gray that can turn dark purple and be engulfed in a purple fire. Whoa. Izuku said. Now since you did kill 3 monkeys you are allowed to know about the next world you'll be in. So plug up that nose. Markinov said. He snapped his fingers and Izuku plugged his nose in time to feel the amount of info go into both his brain and book. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of info. So where will I be landing? Izuku asked. According to my sources it's a world called Highschool of the Dead. So expect a lot of zombies. Markinov said. What? Izuku yelled. Yes. And since you passed your trial you have gained a gift from me and Gob. Mine was that virus I had to mess with to be safe. His is a bike that he'll let you use from a universe that has died naturally. Markinov explained. He sent a mental image into Izuku's mind of the Panzer cycle and he was amazed by the tank cycle. I must let you know. You must kill the zombies. They are tortured souls and killing them by destroying the brain or with your blade will free them. I hate seeing them suffer. Malak says. He may be evil, but he does leave redeemable souls away from this limbo, for they can be reincarnated. Your glaive will act as a judgment tool along with your blade. Evil souls get trapped in the gems, adding power to both weapons, while the redeemable souls are sent to a different limbo, where the higher-ups must judge them. This happens to most of the undead in the multiverse. Serena added. The ballroom began to construct a portal made of silver mist with obsidian borders. The pathway was also obsidian. Looks like you must be going. I have faith in you, Midoriya. Toru won't be able to accompany you due to Gob giving her own book to record your mental state through each universe. It is really needed. Markinov finished. Izuku nodded and sheathed his weapons. He waved bye before getting grabbed by those fucking hands again. God damn it, Meteor. Ow. Izuku said. He had jumped through the portal and fell right on his face. He himself was on a rooftop overlooking the street chock full of zombies. His Panzer cycle itself is in the driveway besides a Humvee. What caught his attention was the people fighting through the zombies. 2 teenage boys, 3 teenage girls, and 1 ditzy woman. The more slim boy wore standard school uniform and was fighting with a crowbar. The fatter one was standing by, clearly more used to a gun. The girl with purple hair was holding a kendo sword and fighting alongside another holding an improvised staff from a broomstick. The others were clearly not experienced in fighting. Besides Izuku was a bag with candies, hidden quirks, food, and other stuff. He grabbed it, took out his blade, and jumped towards them. Meanwhile, watch it, Kimuro. Saya yelled. She had been just complaining really. Oh, shut it and pass me the bat. Takashi yelled. Unfortunately a zombie grabbed his arm and everything went in slow motion. The zombie pulled him and slowly opened its gaping maw to bite his arm. Or it would if it wasn't decapitated by a flaming 3-bladed glaive. That glaive just moved through the zombie horde and avoided any living beings. Even turning sideways to go under Ray's skirt to kill a crawling zombie before returning to a boy in a school uniform. He has green messy hair, green eyes, and he was able to cut down more zombies with a green metal blade. He caught the shrinking bladed glaive and it melted with his palm. He had green sparks on him, but what truly took the cake is when a giant fattest zombie tried grabbing him, he flicked it away. And destroyed a house behind it. The street is now littered in zombie corpses. And the guy just smiled and sheathed his blade. Backstory for Izuku, he is considered a champion in all Mortal Kombat games, for he vents his anger through them in secret, keeping his good boy attitude up. How else did he deal with the shit Katsuki throws at him? Another zombie shambled towards him, but he just bitch slapped it away. God damn, these things are ugly. Good thing for heads up. Izuku thought. He soon caught a second glaive and let it be absorbed into his hand. He then finally noticed that the people were staring at him. He just did a sheepish grin and smiled at them. Time skip. So you come from a world where superheroes and villains are real and powers are pretty much commonplace and called quirks. And you yourself are traveling the multiverse to provide anchors so the multiverse doesn't die. Takashi said. Trust me. I myself am having a hard time accepting it. I still think I'm in some kind of cruel prank. Izuku said. He was eating a piece of jerky. Burano meanwhile was figuring out how to get in the gun safe. The candies had been eaten already. But the other stuff was more or less confusing. First, what looks like a red and white ball with a black middle band is attached to a belt that fits with Izuku's hero suit. Then a long metal sword handle and handguard to a katana with a thick metal rod for a blade was next. Another book from Gob with a holster as well. It was green and had the appearance of a door on the front and back with no belt and blue pages with white text. The spine has a long wooden rod with a blue gem on top in it that pops out and becomes a wand. The cane Gob had, which is able to shrink the long rod till it's nothing and able to be put on his belt. The cog with a wind-up key on one of its teeth for some odd reason, a satchel of harmless floating green flames. And a new hero suit. It was the same color scheme as before, but it was considerably thicker and darker, is bullet and knife proof, immune to the elements, had odd metal arms, metal exoskeleton legs and feet, a metal bit on the back with a holographic health indicator, spikes in the feet, a hood with longer ears that function, as if they were real, a full face mask that can be pulled back. And a green Hergla symbol on the chest and a gear. This is the redesigned self-repairing hero suit he'll be in from now on. It originally was just a badge depicting the Herglas in the gear, but it latched on his suit and remade it. It also had a keychain with a green rabbit's foot and a green crystal key. With a black infinity symbol on the key face. Well, I don't see no reason to not believe you. The fact you flicked away a fattest zombie and destroyed a house sure confirms that. Hirano said. Yeah, I really should have accounted for that. Izuku said. Izuku then heard the girl's conversation through his new robotic ears. He sighed and noticed a button on the side of his badge. He pressed it and a forest green flash was covering him. When it faded, the suit was gone and it was now a small decorative button on his UA school uniform. Well, that's convenient. Izuku said. His items were gone and he had a small rectangular prism device with a screen on it on his left book holster. His right book holster was still on him. He readjusted his suit to be more laid back and free-moving style. He tested his powers and noticed he could envelop his hands in purple fire. He then noticed the crowbar and was safe. He got up and dismissed the fire to jam the crowbar into the safe. And channeled one for all to open it with ease. Hirano stared in awe but then gained a savage smirk. He then began to geek out on the weapons. Somehow his hands gained a blue glow that no one but Izuku noticed. He put that in his mind for later. He then noticed the safe door was still functional, but he saw that he could destroy it to the bare essentials. His new book meanwhile opened a page to an alchemist glyph. With green mist surrounding it and keeping it afloat. He just touched it and it turned into dust that reformed into a ball of carbon, ingots of iron and other metals and other stuff that flew straight into his book. This applied to the whole safe. What the? Izuku said. He then noticed the book and saw that it opened to a message on the cover. Dear Midoriya, this book is known as the Multiverse Grimoire. Due to a deal struck with a friend who is the true embodiment of magic itself, she requested you to document the magic you come across through your travels. You now can control soul fire magic, alchemy, and all forms you may come across later. Just gaze upon the magic and you'll be able to know in extensive detail what the magic does and its properties. That info will stay for 5 hours, giving you enough time to document it. Gob. Well, that explains the book. Izuku said. While that was happening, Marikawa snuck in and was ready to pounce on Izuku. He was sitting on the side of the bed. Izuku really should have done something. But considering a drunk, now passed out, nurse in training with boobs big enough to make him wonder how much pain her back is in, is currently passed out and wearing a towel on his cheek on the floor, his options were limited. And it sure didn't help that Hirano and Kimura weren't helping him and just teasing him. Speaking of which. You are all dead to me and I hope you burn in a fire. Izuku said. He then agonizingly slowly got out from under Marikawa and managed to get her in his arms while the towel is barely covering her. Oh come on, this is a chance of a lifetime, so take it. Hirano says. No. For a girl who happens to be a dragon is in love with me and I just know that I will be murdered if I did. So no. And if you don't believe me, here. Izuku argues. He then drops a tablet showing Tori changing into a dragon and changing the weather with her fire breath. Needless to say they shit their pants in fear. Meanwhile Izuku managed to get Marikawa on the floor to put a blanket over her. Saya, now in a crop top and very short shorts, soon enough woke from her nap to see Izuku stretching and heading back upstairs. Hey Izu. Bang. What was that? Saya asks. Gunshot. Sideways double-barrel shotgun. Final shot. Hirano says. He went down looking for a way to clean his ears. You don't think? Izuku asks. They ran up there to see a horde of zombies had followed a poor guy who was shooting at them. They managed to kill him. Shit. He brought them here. Hirano says. I know. At least we know that they can't go through the fence. Izuku says. Hirano nods and soon gets a nosebleed after seeing Siko in a thong and apron. Yeah. Izuku, want to watch with me? We can see how we can get out of this mess. Hirano asks. Nah. I know we can get out. My power is powerful enough to destroy a building. I should be good. If the worst comes to worst I destroy another building to help us escape. Izuku reassured me. Okay, but if you want to just be careful. Hirano agrees. Hey Midoriya, looks like another group got the same idea as us. A man and his kid is heading to a house. Takagi says. Really? Let me see. Izuku then presses the Hergla symbol and a flash of green light is seen and Izuku is now in his hero suit. Let's see. Izuku said whilst looking through the sight on the AK-47. He pressed a button on his earpiece and could hear the man threatening to break down the door. God damn it. Do it. He says. Wait. I'll open the door now. Just don't hurt us. The man on the other side says. The door then unlocks and the father is elated. Thank you. Thank go Shinko fuck. Izuku says as he watches the man say his final words to his daughter. He just locks up until Harano cocks his sniper rifle and shoots a zombie down whilst saying, rock and roll. That's what you ugly sons of bitches get for going after a little girl like that. You want something to munch on. Why don't you have some of these? Ready? Aim. Dinner time. Harano says whilst shooting down more zombies. He continues and Izuku draws his blade and channels one for all through his body and blade. He jumps to his new vehicle and leaves a walkie-talkie with Harano. Harano, cover me whilst I go help the child. Izuku says. On it. Takagi, go with Midoriya. Not needed. Besides, it's time I took this beauty for a spin. Takagi, tell the others to get ready to go. Izuku says as he gets on the panzer cycle. He gets on and revs the engine. The nearby motorbike turns into blackened pixels and is gone as Izuku tears through the zombies with the machine guns on his bike. He soon swerves and his bike goes into the yard and turns into pixels. He doesn't give a fuck as he swings his blade and quickly three zombies about to attack the girl. Don't worry. For I am here. He says. Just back the fuck off. Izuku says. He was using his blade to fight the zombies as his blade was taking 99% of his power to stay sharp and keen. Turns out the blade takes his power for about an hour no matter the percentage and leaves him with the rest. He killed another wave and managed to create an arc of purple fire in front of him that burned the corpses around him. There's one behind you. The girl says. Izuku looked behind him to see a zombie girl try and attack him. The next part was odd to him, but he swore he saw his arm turn into a fucking cannon that shot out a green energy shot that reduced the zombie to ribbons of flesh. It then reformed into his armored arm while Izuku was in shock. But he shook his head to use what strength he had and shut the gate and twisted the bars to prevent the gate from opening. He even pried off one to do a double knot. Okay, you alright? Izuku says. Yes sir. Who are you? Alice asks. Just your friendly neighborhood multiverse cataloger Deku. Izuku sealed his introduction with a very stupid pose. It worked as she couldn't help but laugh. And this is why you're a hero Midoriya. To see others smile and be happy with you. Izuku says in his head. Slowly he could feel his power coming back but not enough to park her on the rooftops. He began to look around to see how they could get out of here safely. Hey Mr. Deku, he turns to her. That man is my dad. She points to the poor man that was stabbed. He is. I'm sorry that I didn't get here fast enough sir. He says to the body. He then gets a shirt from the clothesline and places it over the man. He picks a flower and offers it to her. Your father protected you through thick and thin. I may not know your father, but he clearly cared for you. He earned my praise and my respect, so I'll promise him to protect you to the best of my abilities. Here, this way we honor him for his efforts. Izuku said. He could honestly see a bit of him in her situation. So young, but had lost her father and mother in a shitshow of a world. As he himself lost his father at 6. She takes the lilac and places it on the body. Ready to cry. She does, as she begins to cry in Izuku's chest. He lets her and rubs her back to ease the pain. While she cries Izuku notices a white flame with blue embers phased out of the body's chest and a few droplets of the corpse's blood floats up and fuses with the lilac and white flame. It creates a giant glow and when it subsides, a necklace with a red chain and a charm shaped like a purple flower bud. The necklace breaks its chain and wraps itself on Alice to reconnect seamlessly. Please protect her Izuku. A distant voice sounding like the father says in Izuku's head. He nods and lets Alice calm down. Alright child, we gotta be quiet and careful. Can you do that? Alice nods. But can't we go above all of them? She asks. The doggo nods. Oh, what I wouldn't give to use Ofa again. Wait. Meanwhile with Harano and Takashi. Harano nods after seeing Izuku save the child. Harano. Takashi. Saya yells. Yeah, they say. They turn to see Marikawa, butt naked and hungover holding a duffel bag and Saya is in the doorway. Miss Shizuka. Marikawa. They say. They both are blushing and Takashi got his nosebleed first while Harano clutched his nuts as the sniper rifle occasionally bounced in his hands. Saya moves away making Harano nosebleed too while she goes in. There's no way we can stay here with all this goddamn noise, I want you two assets to get your shit and leave. She says as she styles her hair in twintails. Yes. Oh okay. They say. Saya then is seen going down the stairs of the porch to see Siko and Rei looking towards the direction Izuku went. Miyamoto. Let Miss Bushijima handle things here and help me pack up. She then remembers that a certain someone is naked. And why don't you look in that backpack of yours and find something to wear? Oh, no wonder I was feeling cold. She runs off to do just that while Saya says, Siko, we need to get the car running. Siko is still in her apron and panties but is now holding that metal katana instead of the. It was much sharper now and had a purple edge to the black blade with the handle, and in place of the handguard a giant crystal was in its place connecting the blade to handle. It was in a black sheath with purple diesels of lightning and gold ends with the end that meets the crystal depicting a wolf biting the crystal. It even had a purple cloth hanging on the pommel. And now's the time to do so. All of the zombies are busy with what Midoriya pulled off earlier. Siko says. Saya goes over the fence to see the zombies had congregated at Izuku's location. What are we gonna do about that? At this rate even his strength won't be enough. Saya said. If so, then we have to go get him. Marikawa says as she buttons up her shirt that barely is able to hold together with 2 buttons. The girls just stare at her making her feel embarrassed about her idea. Do you guys feel like it's a bad idea? I mean I got the car keys and everything. No, not at all. Siko reassures. Saya smirks and puffs up her chest. She's right, Haluva plan, let's do it, we get Midoriya and hall passes to the other side of the river. She agrees. Her glasses flash as if they could detect her determination. Kakashi was quickly grabbing extra clothes for guys in the next house over when Kota says through the walkie-talkie to grab a couple things to be considered weapons. He says he will and notices his hair somewhat turning brown at the tips of his black hair. In fact his cheeks had freckles while his palm had a couple giant brown patches on his backhand and back of his fingers. He shook it off as he grabbed a sledgehammer, a metal baseball bat, a pistol from a safe, and a cleaver. He nods and quickly heads to the others. Just in time to see the tray and Marikawa got their items. We got all this stuff, I wonder if it'll all fit. Marikawa says. What if they attack us while we're loading? Rei asks. We'll just have to be very quiet like a couple of robbers. Saya says. Her chest for some reason was bouncing. Let's do it that way then. Siko says. Takashi and her head to the Humvee first with her holding her blade in a one-hand stance while Takashi held the bat. While the others got the items in the car. Miyamoto then notices that the Humvee has the steering wheel on the other side. Kota looks at the group of girls and Takashi and says to himself. We load up the stuff, get Izuku and the girl, and get out of here. I don't know, there are way too many of them, even for a Humvee, wish we had a tank or something. He then looks to the house and gets a light flashed on his face. That was Saya signaling him. Maybe if Izuku could get a little closer to us then we'd be able to get out of here. But how? Huh? Burano then smirks as he sees Izuku walking along the stone fence with a dog in his jacket and the girl on his back. Man, Izuku has got some serious balls to do that. Very nice indeed. Meanwhile Izuku was busy trying not to freak the fuck out. Okay, we can do this, stop it. Stop. Izuku harshly said as the dog Zero was licking him. Alice reached over and helped him keep the dog down. Phew. Thanks kid. Izuku says. Aren't you scared? I am. How about you? Oh definitely. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But I promised your father I'll protect you no matter what. It helps keep my head clear. Alice giggles. Where's Hirano? Saya asks. I think he's still inside. Marikawa says. Geez, I don't know if he's sharp or slow. Saya then runs to the house to get Hirano only to find him already out and wearing flashlights on his head, holding the shotgun on his shoulder with his hand, wearing a bulletproof vest, holding the other guns on his back, the revolver on his hip, holding the crossbow in the other hand. And it seemed he had somehow combined the nail gun with it via unknown means even to himself and giving this what? Look on his face. Eh? Everyone stares at him for a second till Saya says, oh wow, you look kind of sexy. Oh you really think so? I really waited a minute. Just get in the car. Saya says. Excuse me? You what? Izuku asks. He is halfway to the end of the fence. I've gotta pee. Oh no, can you hold it? No why don't you think of something else? Like playing or running arrow no. I can't hold it anymore. You sure? She nods. Izuku sighs. Alright then. Go ahead and pee right there. This sadly isn't the first time I sadly went through this. Izuku says. Are you sure? Yes I'm sure. Okay. As she did Izuku concluded that this moment here is the worst thing he ever went through, that his life before is just a spark compared to this moment. In the end he shed a tear that twinkled in the night. Thankfully a random zombie did good for our green-haired hero as it managed to snag his boot and almost made him fall, But he regained his balance and kicked it in the ugly face, providing a good distraction. "Oh shit," Izuku says. "If only I can use a bit of my quirk right now. We'd be on the roofs in an instant." He then hears something on his earpiece and smiles. The dog barks in happiness. On the Humvee was Kota ready to shoot, the girls inside of it, and Siko on top with Takashi ready to jump off the hood. Various camera shots show them inside with the Humvee bouncing along the road. "Oh gosh, there are so many of them. How are we gonna get through? Run them down," Saya yells. As she says that her twin tails turn into a pink metal that hardens and turns into two blades ready to be taken off. The Humvee does just that as it goes through a horde of undead before swerving at a road turn ready to go. "Just hold on for a bit longer, Arisu," Izuku said. Takagi gets off with Siko behind and they begin to attack the horde of zombies in front of them. Ray gets out through the top to tell Izuku to hurry up. Easier said than done. Izuku then uses Ofa to increase his speed. Saya gets out as well. "Hirano, buy us some time. I'm all ears," he yells. He then shoots the shotgun at the zombies on one side while laughing maniacally as he shoots more and more. Meanwhile Siko and Takashi are dispatching a lot of zombies. Siko was then shocked when she destroyed half of the undead with a wave of electricity. Her head and backside soon grew out a wolf tail and ears that were covered in purple fur and had neon blue lightning bolt streaks on them, along with a section of her hair turning neon blue. Everyone was, but they ignored it for now to attack more undead. They just kept coming though. Siko and Takashi jumped to the Humvee. "Izuku. Bang, hurry up," Ray and Saya said. Ray's fingers stiffened and sharpened while a small protrusion on her wrist grew. Marikawa's hands glowed an ethereal green that fixed a crack in the wheel ring of the Humvee. Her thumbs turned green as well. "Are they your friends?" Alice asks. "Yep. Really good friends," Izuku says. "This is the last ride to the river. Are you gonna get in?" Siko asks. Of course I am." The camera then shows Izuku jumping onto the Humvee roof. He soon lands on the car and lets Arisu onto the roof. "Hi. I'm Kota. We're friends of Izuku. Here we go," Marikawa says as she starts the car. This inadvertently causes Izuku's face to fall forward into Saya's breasts, Kota to fall down with Arisu, and Takashi to fall on the hood while Siko just laughs at this. The scene slowly but surely goes over the river and bridge as the Humvee and the people inside it cross the now low-tide river. All the while Izuku was singing with Arisu the song "Row, row, row your boat" on top of the Humvee roof. On the antenna was Arius's panties being dried by the wind. Hirano was inspecting his sniper rifle he somehow made into a sword and combined it with the assault rifle. Saya was inspecting the river with binoculars in the Humvee roof hole. "Again," Arisu says. "Haha. Alright." As they sing again Saya sneaks a look and the readers can see the slight blush dusting her cheeks as she smiles. He sure acts like a father. And he sure as hell protects her. He's a good man. "That was fun, big bro," Arisu says. Yeah, for some odd reason Arisu considers Izuku a big brother. Why? I don't know. "How about the film sing the filthy bastardized rhyme and you get neutered?" Saya and Izuku cinched. Izuku had his glaives out and Saya's hair turned into blades dangerously close to Kota's face. "Okay," he says. "Wake up everyone." Rei soon wakes up, slight drool on Takashi's shoulder. She soon realizes what happened but doesn't mind as she brings her fist, thumb first, to her chin, making it look like she was right about to suck her thumb or biting her thumbnail. "We'll be on the other side soon," Marikawa says. Rei then notices Siko, her tail is gone but the hair and ears stay. She can hide her ears on a whim now. Laying on Takashi's lap with her thumb also close to her mouth. Drooling much more than Rei. She soon scowls and gets a little miffed at Siko. But that expression soon changes to consideration. Meanwhile the Humvee is on the gravel ground now. Izuku grabbed Arisu and jumped off. "Don't sense any tainted souls. We'll be fine to change clothes and for me to explain yesterday," Izuku says. Well, he said that Rei pinched Takashi's cheek, waking him up in the process. "Wah. Hey. Ah, that hurt," he says. "Must be nice," she says with her hand on her cheek. "What do you mean?" "Oh." Takashi soon notices his predicament. Siko wakes up soon after a little dazed. "Oh, Siko, good morning. You're drooling," Rei says while hugging his arm between her breasts. This causes Siko to blush and try to fix that mistake. "Hey, is everybody awake yet? We're definitely not gonna be walking out in the stuff from when we were taking showers," Izuku says. He actually took his hero suit off to get the stench of pee off his suit. He just finished while Saya put Arisu's panties on her. He put it back in the button mode and stood with Takashi as the girls got dressed. The guys were busy talking about the dog and the Pacific War while choosing clothes as well. So Izuku took the time to write down what had happened. Universe Entry 5. After fighting a horde of undead, hold on. Line. Ow. The hell, man. I went to class with a pervert that borderline sexual assault constantly. I'll beat the shit out of any pervert I see. So keep it on the down low and you can live. Izuku said. The tick marks were bigger than Bakugo's. Saya and Marikawa of course heard this. Line. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, we managed to save a little girl and she apparently calls me a big brother. I don't know why, but if it helps keep her happy and get over her father's death, then I'm all for it. Line. Izuku. Yes, child. He blushes when he sees the girl in their new attire. Same attire, but Saya's jacket is fully open to reveal a black tank top. I was never a fan of that design. Kakashi himself was wearing a sleeveless leather jacket over his school jacket, how much longer it was for taller students, and replaced his red shirt for a white shirt. He is now wearing gray jeans and combat boots to complement his leather gloves. His final item he is wearing is a pair of goggles, think of the ones on Generator Rex, on his neck. Urano himself wore a military hat and the military vest with added sleeves. He also wore jeans and combat boots as well. No gloves. He held the assault sniper rifle and cross nail on his back and in his hands. Nice jet of people. Did those houses really have that much clothing? Izuku asked as he went into his hero costume. The forest green flashes seen as the suit begins materializing. In seconds he was in it, ready to fight. We're gonna bring up the Humvee. You two cover us while Izuku tries to get his bike back. Saya says. No need. Found out it shrank and went into my pocket. And then fused with the bike to add 2 front wheels and a Gatling gun made from the machine guns in between the wheels. Not even surprised. But it can also go back to the original design and the bike. Izuku said as he pulled a miniature scale panzercycle from somewhere and threw it to the ground. It quickly grew to normal size again, and when Izuku got on it was now colored to his own color scheme with lighter colors. It had white stripes and a forest green body with a tread black with a middle red stripe. The machine guns are completely red as well. While he did that, Kota and Takashi got to the road and signaled the clear sign. You're good, he said. The Shizuka. Izuku. Rei asked. Here we go. Marikawa says. She starts the Humvee and Izuku and her ride up the hill. They briefly fly over Hirano and scare the shit out of him. All these zombies and I'm gonna be killed by an Asian woman driver and her boyfriend, he says to himself. The hell did I just get done saying, Izuku said. It looks like it didn't stop at the river. Saya says as she looks through the binoculars. I don't know why we thought it would be any safer on the other side. Siko adds. But if the police are still alive then maybe yeah, and maybe curbside recycling is still a thing too, Saya. Izuku interrupted. He gives this annoyed look and Saya looks away in annoyance. Besides, from what I've seen the police are doing way much more of a better job than in the movies. If you're a cop in a zombie movie you are to be killed off right away for being just a bit competent. Izuku finishes. Oh Izuku. Boy are you wrong. Wink wink. But what are going to do now? Marikawa asks. Your house is on the second block of the Sagashikawa district, right? Takashi asks Saya. That's right. Then that's where we head to first. Izuku proposes. But they. You know. It's okay Izuku. I'm not expecting much. But still it's alright Saya. Izuku says. He gives Saya a reassuring smile. Only for it to make her blush and along with Marikawa. As if he noticed. He starts up the panzer cycle and Saya gets on the back of his bike while the others get in or on the Humvee. Izuku keeps his bike at an even pace with the Humvee. While Rei and Takashi are talking, Saya decides to ask Izuku something. Hey Izuku. What is with the powers we gained anyway? She asked. Remember those candies I had? He asks. Yeah, they tasted great. Why? I believe they had an effect from my friend Gob to mutate your bodies and let you gain quirks. Powers from my world. Therefore proving to me that I won't be alone in my travels. I think it would be necessary to keep me sane throughout my travels. Izuku explains. I mean, how would you react when you get the chance to travel the multiverse to prevent universal death? He asks. Probably freak out. Answers. I did. But my passion to save others and prove to others that even in the darkest of times, I can be a beacon of hope to others. And save them not for money or fame. But because it's the right thing to do. Izuku explains. As he looked onward he didn't notice Saya smiling at him and having a light blush dusting her cheek at his determination. He's kinda cute when he has that determined look. Saya thinks to himself. Meanwhile in the multiversal hub mirror. Wow, Izuku is a lady charmer alright. And he doesn't even know it. Toru says. She was watching Izuku ride through the city on the TV. It's actually common in his universe to be a charmer without knowing it. It's because of this that a girl by the name of Ichako Uraraka. She had a crush on him ever since she was saved by him from a giant robot about to kill her. Gob says. Really? That's actually pretty romantic. Toru says. And that's not even counting the 2 now 3 kids he's adopted. Gob says while enjoying the look of shock on Toru's face. What? She yells. While this happened, Izuku was busy slashing at zombies. The gang had encountered zombies deep inside the city. He was busy using Soul Slash against the dense horde while Kota let the others through the wire. But in the chaos, Takashi and Siko had to help lead the horde away and left. Up you go. Kota said. Kota. What are you doing? You and Zero jump over the fence. He says. But what about Big Brother and the others? She asks. We're coming right after you. Kota says. That's a lie. What? Izuku heard this through his headpiece. Daddy gave me that same look you gave me when he died. He said it was okay, but he still died. Arisu shouts. Izuku's blade cracks. His eyes turn black. No way. No way, I don't want to go. I don't want to be alone. I want to stay with you, Big Brother. Another crack. Izuku, Takashi, and all the girls. I want to stay with you forever. No. Please. Please. The blade shatters and the shards orbit Izuku as a giant light show of green and purple fire envelops Izuku. Have no worries. For I, Deku. Am here, he says in a very deep voice. The shards turn to 4 long 8-sided crystals enveloped in purple fire. They began to slowly orbit him as he let his power spread. In an instant he jumped to the Humvee and brought Saya and Rei behind him as he ready to punch. His suit arms mecha shifted into small sleeves as he punched a zombie in front of him. Destruction. That is all that you can say to describe the power behind Izuku's rage and soul-fueled punch. The giant cone of black and green fire is seen and fills the street in seconds. The horde. What horde? In fact, what street? The only zombies left are just mangled bodies barely able to move. And they were spared. Izuku wasn't spared either. His arm was bruised and mangled. Bones completely broken. And he had a few tears and past scars are reopened. Pretty ceilings. That is all Izuku could stare at when he woke up and saw his home. His offhand was wrapped in a cast and a sling while he was on a bed nearby Rei's bed. He soon remembered what the heck happened after the grogginess went away. Flashback. Oh, god damn it, Ted. At the ladder. Get them now. A voice unfamiliar to the others said. In seconds an army of firefighters holding water cannons began to blast back the zombies. Izuku himself reverted back to his school uniform. The ladder was put on the Humvee and the wire was stretched for the ones on the ground and inside. Whoa. One guy said as he looked at the destruction caused. From there Izuku sadly collapsed from fatigue as his arm started to heal with another of Gob's gifts. Nanites. Then flashback. Since that day Izuku's arm was still purple and bruised but not mangled enough to not use his arm. He can carry small things as well. But the one thing to impress everyone was when he lifted his bike with no effort over the wire fence. They still try to study him if it weren't for Kota threatening harm in his defense. Takashi. Rei. Oh yeah. Rei was naked holding a blanket over her for the Humvee had hurt her back badly. And her boobs were used to balance an AK-47. Takashi was holding her shoulders as Marikawa, her hands were covered in medicinal ointment, was busy walking towards them with an evil look in her eyes. Ready or not, here I come. Don't let her escape, Kimuro. She says. Izuku will not admit this, but she actually turned him on with that. Okay. With that Izuku puts a privacy curtain up to prevent himself from seeing. It's gonna hurt. A little. As Rei exclaimed in pain over Marikawa rubbing her back while Takashi held her down, Izuku took that time to get up and pet Zero. Did it burn? It's my special formula. You traitor. Rei says to Takashi while Marikawa dries her hands. What? Why? I only held you down while she rubbed your back. He says. That's not what I meant. Then what is it? Can you guess? Rei asks. Guess what? Guess not. All I need is a little bit of medicine on me. You didn't need to call the school nurse. Rei explains. Huh. Get out of here. She demands. What is it all of a sudden? My boobs are killing me because you used them to balance an AK-47. She yells while kicking Takashi out of the room. You know he's pretty dense, right? Izuku finally asks. I know. I just wish he would notice me at least. But he's more interested in that bitch Siko. She says. Actually, he's totally crushing hard on you. He is just going through a phase of uncertainty. I saw that before with my cousin who had 3 girlfriends, but the stress just got the better of him. Izuku defends. Really? Rei asks. She had herself laying on her chest. And a towel is covering her butt. Yep. In fact, he recently went to counseling with them and their relationship is stronger than ever. Oh, good for him and the girls. Ray said. Yeah. When I told Mineta about him, he vowed to find him and make him teach his ways. Mineta, by the way, is a hardcore pervert and will commit sexual assault. Do not hesitate to hurt him. Izuku said. With pleasure. Izuku and Ray talked for so long that the others had come in. I don't see a reason why we all have to gather around here. Ray says. You can barely move. What else can we do? Takashi says. I'm sorry, what were we talking about again? Marikawa asks while peeling a banana. Whether we continue to move forward or stay, as a group. Saya explains. As a group? Ray asks. Saya is right. The group is bigger now. So we in general have to decide what's next. And that's accounting for if I leave and if you guys come with or not. Izuku explains. Right. So we have two options. Be absorbed into the group or separate. Wait. Do you really think we have to form a group? It's only getting worse in the city. And your father seems to know what he is doing. Your mother too. They have a plan. Oh, don't they always? No one knows that more than I do. The Kage? Izuku asks. Maybe if she was as dedicated at home as she was out of it. The Kage? God, she's such a bitch. Hey, don't talk about your mother that way. Given the situation we're in, it's been hard for everyone involved. Did I ask for you to weigh in on my family life? Takagis. How fabulous their life must be. She began to tear up. Everything must be perfect. The house, the lawn, the parties, and most of all their daughter. It was positively suffocating. They wanted to know where I was every minute of the goddamn day. The leash they kept me on. Izuku couldn't help but remember his friend Todoroki. His horrible father used his mother to make someone surpass All Might because he doesn't like him. And then he sent Todoroki's mother to an insane asylum because she wanted Todoroki to have a normal life. That's enough. No. It was never enough, she yells. But where was that leash yesterday when I was running around fighting for my life? Where the hell were they then? She yells. Enough. Takashi grabs Saya by the shirt and lifts her up. Takashi. Siko gasps. You don't know. You have no idea what I've been through. You don't know anything about me. Saya argues. It's not just you. We all feel the same way. We all feel the same way. He says while shaking her around. Don't you know how lucky you are? At least your parents are safe. So quit whining. He finishes. Everyone soon bowed their heads remembering their parents. Okay. You can put me down now. Saya says. Takashi soon puts her down. She grabs her glasses that fell down. I'm sorry. You better be. I forgive you. Everyone soon smiles knowing that no more drama will happen for now. Now. As I was. Saya was interrupted by trucks rolling into the house. In them is a muscular man holding a Japanese sword. Saya, is that? Izuku asks. Yes. He's the head of Tokunosu district. He judges everything by his rules. My father. Time skips. The forklift holding a caged zombie rolls in as Saya's father, I'll go with Takagi for simplicity's sake, begins speaking. This man's name is Tetsuresu Toro. He's the former retainer of the family that served my family. He is also my best friend. He begins. The vehicle stops and lowers the cage. The day, during the rescue operation to save his former associates, he was bitten. He explains. This causes the crowd to murmur a whisper. This is the ultimate case of self-sacrifice. What he did was something any human being can do. However, what is he doing? Izuku thinks. He is no longer human. He's a monster of his former self. The zombie, as if it knew what it heard, began banging at the door. That's why, as a man to the Takagi family, I shall fulfill my duty to the retainer. The cage was unlocked and the zombie moved to attack. Though one mother didn't see Takagi decapitate the zombie, she had to pick up a broken baby bottle. The head managed to land in the fountain, giving the fountain a red tint to the water from the water. This is the present we're facing. And so, even if they are your loved ones or strangers, you must defeat them without hesitation. If you want to survive, you must fight. He finishes. Saya and Izuku look onto the scene with annoyance and suspicion. Urano, you good? You don't look so well. Takashi asks. True to his word, he looks angry. Swords are inefficient. He says. Urano. I said swords are highly inefficient. A Japanese sword would break once it hits bone. It's useless after slicing 3 or 4 people. He argues. When did we start talking about blades? Izuku thought as they continued to argue. Izuku decided to intervene. Urano. Stop. In a zombie apocalypse you have to use whatever you got. So what if you have a blade or a brick? As long as it can help you disable or kill a zombie, then it's good. He says. That still doesn't justify it. You don't know how to shoot a gun actually. All you do is punch. He argues. Urano. Saya says. He then looks to her and begins running while grunting something angrily. Izuku runs after him but loses him. He soon rears his elbow ready to punch the wall in frustration. Big brother. Arisu calls. If it weren't for Arisu following him. What's wrong? Did you and Kota have a fight? No, we did. Izuku said. Oh, then let me tell you something good. She says. And what is a child? He asks. You guys just need to talk some more. If you talk then you can find the root of the problem. She says. Do you think so? Izuku asks. I know so. After everything you guys have been through you guys can't have a fight now. Come on Zero. Arisu finishes. Izuku smiles and soon walks down the stairs with a new conviction. To bring the team to his world and help them live a better life. Izuku. Arisu is all of a sudden running towards him before leaning down to take a breather. Arisu? Izuku asked. Hurry up. It's Kota, he is in big trouble. Izuku didn't let her finish because full cowl took effect and he was gone. Green sparks are what's left in his trail along with his cast. With Kota. No, I won't do it. I won't hand them over. Kota says. Kota is seen on the ground with all the guns, separate now, surrounded by people. Come on fatboy, hand over the guns. Come on, hand me over. You know what's happening out there. It's better if you don't keep them all for yourself. I won't do it. Besides, I'm borrowing these from someone. In fact no one else can use these like I can. Go ahead. You know what to do. A chubby bald man says. Another man steps up to kick Kota. Or he would if a green-haired boy didn't bitch slap him into the ground hard enough to make a very small trench. Beggin' filthy thought. Izuku yells. The hell, the bald man says. Kota keeps the guns. For he does use them better than you dumbuses. He says. His eyes are black again and clearly seen through the green fire around them. 4 big shards of metal from his sword are orbiting him with only one aflame. His sword was back and in his hand pointing to each of them. How? Illusions. But the blade is real. I am defending my friend's honor. Kota keeps the guns. Izuku said as he kept his guard. I remember you. You're the boy who could lift a mechanical marvel of a bike with little to no effort. Then proceeded to crush a zombie's skull with 2 fingers. Mr. Takagi says. Yes I am. Izuku says. Tell me why you should let the fat boy keep the guns. Mr. Takagi asks. He can protect your daughter sir. Takashi says to Kota's defense. He had rubble orbiting him and his eyes turned brown with black pupils. Kumoro? Kota said. Kumoro? Yes, that name seems familiar. You're friends with my daughter are you not? This man seethed disapproval to him. Yes. But Hirano and Izuku were the ones protecting her. We all have in fact. He keeps the guns. Takashi says without flinching. Kota? Arisu yells before hugging Kota tightly. Giving an angry, adorable look to Mr. Takagi. I must say I've seen their bravery up close with my very eyes. Siko adds. Her wolf ears twitching. Me too, daddy. Saya says. His hair is mimicking hands being crossed in disappointment. He's just a loser military otaku and Izuku is a boy with ambitions of being a hero. But without them I would have become one of those zombies daddy. That's right. He and Izuku did a better job at protecting me than you would ever have daddy. Saya finishes. Marikawa and Rei, finally fully healed, had walked up to the group as well. Izuku lowers his blade. A smile on his face. Takagi, thank you. Mr. Takagi looks onward to the group. But when he looked at Izuku, you could swear you saw approval in his eyes. I don't understand. Killing pandemic. That's complete bullcrap. It is just an excuse by the government to explain why dead bodies are shambling around and attacking us. Saya argues. Come on, you expect us to believe all of those people are dead. This has got to be some kind of disease. A man argues back. Yeah, there has to be a reason. A woman adds. Well, of course there is. Just like how Izuku can somehow lift heavy vehicles with a sore arm. But we don't have enough time or resources to waste on researching this crap. Saya explains. Nazi stammers and is about to speak when Saya interrupts. We have to focus on surviving. Trying not to get eaten, Saya continues her tangent, but this is futile for the mob didn't listen and began yelling their own reasons to keep the zombies alive. Well, until Izuku scared the shit out of them by creating a shockwave. Saya shakes her umbrella dry. I must say that it was successful overall. Definitely better than the last one. They're fucking Nazis. She yells. I only spoke to them because they were talking shit about dad. But it is pointless until Izuku makes a shockwave. It's completely pointless. She says. I don't know if I can kinda relate to them. Kota says. Are you trying to pick a fight with me, you fatus? Saya yells at Kota. No. I just mean that people tend to ignore what they don't want to see. He explains. Izuku and Takashi perk up at this. No one wants to be denied. That's why people don't do anything when they know something is happening. It's human nature. You can't deny there is a shift happening in this de facto survival colony. Saya counters. Well yeah, but I think the natural response for people is to deny it. They won't face reality because it is too much for them. Understand? If they don't admit to the change, then they don't have to admit their mistakes or idiocy. Saya said. Well yeah. How do you think we get through high school? Kota asks. Every breakfast club of yours is chubby. Saya retorts. I see. Takashi says. Both of them. Well, that was pretty informative. Izuku adds. They blink in shock before smiling and nodding to each other. What? Izuku asks. You two don't do that. Saya says. What? What are you talking about? Takashi asks. It's embarrassing, but we're still admitting to it. Izuku adds. See? Don't you think they are the ones? Saya asks Kota. Yep. Izuku and Takashi are kinda different. He agrees. What are you talking about? Takashi and Izuku cinched. Don't you see? You two should be our group's leaders. Saya says. What? They cinched again. The leader, huh? If only the others were here, then maybe I could console them. Hell, even Kaken would be a good consultant. Izuku said with a smirk. And what do you mean by that, Deku? A familiar voice sounds out. He looks up to see Tenya, Bakugo, Toru and Ichako stepping out a portal made by Toru. Oh, and another kid who had horns, a tail which had a purple fuzzy end, and looked like a tribal gothic Lolita. Eyes. Izuku said before hugging them all save Bakugo and the child. We heard of your dilemma earlier thanks to Gob. And we're willing to help. Uraraka said. Yeah. For no one will harm my husband when I'm around. Toru declares. This of course causes Izuku to become a stammering tomato and Bakugo being the Sue. Are you ready? Takashi asks Rei. Rei says. She was holding a thick bony spear that she made with her quirk. Her wrist spikes were hidden and she wore winter gloves with the fingertips cut just enough to reveal her sharpening fingers. The spear itself ended in a diamond shape. I want you to take me with you. Siko says. Her ears were in full view and she held two swords on her belt. One had a curved edge and the other was the one she used electricity with. How come? Rei asks her. Well, the others will need a leader and I prefer it be you in all honesty. I see Takashi was about to say something else when Rei began running towards the entrance. Rei wow no that's. The scene changes to show Mr. Shido being escorted in. I must say I didn't expect to be helping the son of Representative Shido at a time like this. But I guess that doesn't matter now. Too bad that now isn't the best of times to plan his re-election campaign. The escort says. That's quite alright. For now I'm just a simple school teacher. Shido says. I'm impressed. Not only did you escape the school, you also saved a dozen kids. The escort says. Well, of course. As a teacher, what else am I supposed to do? If your father was here, he would be proud of what you accomplished. Escort says. Oh, is that so? To the public he was a great person. But to me he was a tyrant. He made my mother suffer and eventually he drove her to suicide. He countered. Even his son, who decided to be a simple educator. Would you at least help my students? I don't care for my well-being at all. He asks. How admirable, Mr. Shido. Rei interrupts and holds her spear up to Shido's face. Miss Miyamoto. Thank goodness you're alright. Shido says. Do you want to know how I'm so good with the spear? Because I practiced the bayonet too. By my father, who's never lost a competition in his life. To think how you made him suffer. The man who is never fazed by anything came home to me crying and apologizing to me. He said I had to repeat the grade because of him. She said, her eyes held a rage in them. Akashi and Izuku run up to her and she continues. But I know only you can control the grades. But I held my temper because he promised me he would put you and your father in jail if his investigation goes through. She continues. But now, you pay. Rei finishes. She inches the spear tip closer to Shido and draws blood from his cheek. Izuku drew his blade slightly. It reformed into a broadsword. Are you gonna commit murder? You're a policeman's daughter, for God's sake. You don't want to become a criminal, do you? Shido pleads. I don't want to hear it from you. Rei yells. Thunder sounds out. Then you should kill him. I had the displeasure of associating with this man's father once. If you wish, kill him. Saya's father says. Akashi moves to stop her, but Siko stops him. Though Izuku surprised everyone by slashing his blade at Shido. somehow leaving no mark. Crawling sinners curse. May they burn in hell. He says, as the incantation is finished. All of a sudden Shido felt immense pain that brought him to his knees as a giant shadow in his eyes formed around him, becoming unspeakable horrors to him that crawled up his back. The sins he has done multiplied the pain. Only then did a burn scar appear on him while his clothes ripped where Izuku slashed him. What is this? Shido asks. In order to redeem yourself you must leave our presence at once. Along with those who were tainted by you. Then you may know the meaning of pain. Consider this mercy for I could have easily decapitated you. Now. Get out of my sight. Izuku finishes. He then grabs Shido and throws him out the property with one for all at 6%. He didn't notice Toru writing down his behavior in her journal. I won't let you go down the path of villainy. This is your first strike. There won't be a third. Izuku sheaths his blade ignoring everyone's shocked faces. Well. That was so cool big brother Zuku. Arisu exclaims. Izuku smiles and pats her head before heading back in. If you need me I'll be inside cataloging my findings. Come on Zero. He says. As he walks away riding, the others stare in shock while Saya, Marikawa, Uraraka and Toru had intense blushes on their faces. The guys took a big step back from them while Siko and Rei followed suit. Yes. I remember. Marikawa exclaims. She was literally jumping with joy. What are you talking about Miss Shizuka? Tenya asks. I remember my friend's phone number. She explains whilst hugging Arisu. You mean the one with the guns and Humvee? Rei asks. That's right. She is in the SAT. The special assault team. So she must still be alive. The camera pans downward to show Arisu who is very uncomfortable under Marikawa's bust. Is that the right term? Oh. More importantly, gimme your phone. Marikawa asks Izuku. Sure, but I don't know if it'll work across the multiverse. He says. She grabs it and begins speaking to herself as she dials the number. It works and she hears her friend on the other side. Rika. She says. Oh thank God you're alive. She said, I'm happy for you Miss Shizuka. Kana says. The scene changes to show Rika in an airport. With a familiar galaxy-suited being and faceless man watching from afar. As she spoke Markinov decided to speak. So Slenderman, mind telling me the purpose of making Izuku more bold? You know why and don't worry. Gobble outed and his behavior will change depending on the world to fit the situation along with the others. This will help them all in the long run. He answers. I see. Well it's not like I ain't doing my own meddling as well. Markinov agrees as he has a platform behind him with Takashi's mother and Rei's father on the platform. The nuclear bomb went off and the giant flash was able to be seen. Back with Izuku and Co. That was an EMP blast from a nuclear warhead. Izuku says. Then that means all our electronics are dead. Kitsuki says. He was now wearing a slimmer version of his gauntlet and they could shoot bursts of explosive beams now. He also had gauntlet-like claws on his hands. This isn't good. Tenya says. He was wearing his hero suit and held a crowbar. Ichako had a breastplate on and white vambraces. With them wearing thick bite-proof undersuits under their costumes. In Ichako's hands is a duffel bag containing clothes, rations, water and a med kit. Is there a way to fix this issue? Takagi asks. Daddy. Right, if we replace the fried circuits and repair any damage then cars and things like that will still work. Older models preferably. Saya suggests. Go check the cars right now. Mr. Takagi orders. Yes, sir. Izuku. Yes, sir. Izuku asks. I can't help but notice your ability to stay calm and rational at a time like this, along with a noticeable smile. For that you owe my praise and blessing. He says. Thank you, sir. Izuku accepts. Before anyone could think along the lines of lucky bastard a gunshot sprang out as a guard was trying to push back the horde. Toru and Bakugo. You are with me taking on the horde while Tenya and Kota defends Komuro while he seals off the exits. Rei and Siko. Go with Ichako while she uses her quirk to bring the others outside back inside to safety. You are to protect Shizuka while she tends to anyone with injuries they may have sustained. Kana and Arisu take Zero and hide in the Humvee. Akashi, when I shoot a green flare, start up the Humvee and get the others. And expect a giant dragon. Izuku said. But those commands and orders they were off. Just in time for the gate was about to fall. Gray stone liquid enveloped the gate and it was permanently shut off. Along with any other entrances. Takashi then took the time to create castle walls and towers along with ramps to add defensive measures. Then you use this terrain to bat at the zombies and traverse the area as he grinded along handy rails provided. Kota used his quirk to create a sniper rifle that uses a revolver mechanism, somehow corrodes targets, has adjustable high zoom, and will mecha shift into a sword. Ichako on the other hand had extendable wings on her sides, with fans on her now afloat body grabbing guards on the other side. While she was doing so, Siko was a purple and blue blur as she took down a wave of undead while Rei stabbed and slashed any stragglers nearing her. Saya was busy using her sharp hair to attack any zombies nearing her. And the greatest part is that her hair stayed pink and blood-free. Marikawa was using her quirk to heal any injuries the bystanders sustained as the camp was on fire. Natsu died. Come on, Kana. Okay. Arisu was holding hands as they ran to the garage. But just their luck that a zombie cut them off. It was about to grab Arisu and she watched in slow motion that it latched onto her arm. Or it would have if her necklace didn't glow and her arm became white fire itself. In an instant the zombie was ashes. Anna meanwhile had breathed out a torrent of flames from her mouth at another wave of zombies. Anna quickly grabbed Arisu and they got in the Humvee. Izuku was meanwhile cutting through the giant horde of undead with both glaive and blade. He discarded them for punching the horde away. He still doesn't know how to wield a blade after all. Bakugo was cursing, swearing, killing, and exploding everything in between. Nuff said. And Toru? Let's just say Ash and leave it at that. Yeah. In the end though the horde of undead are gone. With the home of the Takagi family in perfect condition. And now more defended as Komuro took the time to create castle walls around the place. And Mr. Takagi himself revealed that he had stored castle doors that were going to be scrapped. To all of you who defended our home. I thank you for your willingness to help those without wanting a reward. So it gives me great relief to know that my daughter is in great hands. Mr. Takagi says. Thanks Mr. Takagi. It was no trouble at all. Izuku said. But thanks is in order. So, you also have my blessings, and this? Mrs. Takagi says. She then takes out a cherry wood box with a velvet interior holding a revolver with western details, a pistol grip, and an 11-inch barrel. It was coated in platinum and had a wide oak pistol grip. The revolver barrel had a welded blade. With the end of the blade stopping a half-inch after the barrel. This is Jacob. A revolver I owned since my teenage years. Use it well on your journey. She says. Thank you Miss Takagi. I will. Izuku says. Saya smiles knowing that her parents do love her. But then more, lewd, shall we say, thoughts clouded her mind when thinking of Izuku and her. Said green hair got a big chill up his spine. But he let it go. For they regathered at the Humvee. Izuku let down his panzercycle and the motorcycle. Kitsuki got on the bike, which redesigned itself to his colors and scheme, the others got in the Humvee, and Toru let her wings out while Tenya sat on Kitsuki's bike and Ichako got on Izuku's. Everybody ready? Takashi asked. Hell yeah. Let's get moving, shitty nerd. Kitsuki yelled. His bike was dark green and black. Had grenade diesels on his bike with levers as footholds, 2 spoilers, fronts of the handlebars, and housed a seat on the back with metal bags on the sides. It also had a much bigger frame, and the rims were made in the image of Bakugo's mask price. In fact it was made more like a chopper now. It also had 4 exhaust pipes under the bags. 2 for exhaust while the top 2 are for propulsion. Yeah, you ticking time bomb. Izuku retorted as he charged up his panzercycle. Not even a second later the time bomb himself was flying after him, swearing and exploding all the fucking the same. Takashi on the other hand just shook his head as the Humvee started and they took off. An indefinite time later. Here we see the group stuck on a highway. Why? Out of gas. Well Takashi, Izuku? Rei asked. They both perk up and sign. Oh well oh screw it. They both say. Siko gets on the roof with Kota and Takeshi goes through the shooting hole holding a shotgun and sniper rifle. Well what do you say Takashi? Want to end this road trip? Izuku asks as his cannon arms ready themselves. Hell yeah. With a fucking bang. He then shoots the camera as the screen goes black. Thanks for watching my video and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, link is in the description, see you next time, till then sayonara.